I mean, just looking at these two, it just brings up so many questions. Hey guys, Jay! Welcome back to the channel. So guys, the X-Men 97 Wave 2 has finally been dropped, and you'd think at the end of the year, Hasbro would be taking it easy, but it seems like the toy news just doesn't stop. Let's take a deep dive into this and see exactly what was announced by Hasbro, and honestly, what's going on with one particular character who I just have so many questions for. Let's have a look, everybody. Guys, I want to give a huge shout out to news.toyart.com. They're a wonderful resource for toy news all year round. Definitely give them a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. Earlier today, they revealed the brand new Marvel's X-Men 97 Wave 2, and this was unexpected, to be perfectly honest with you. It seems like all of the Hasbro brands are just releasing things in anticipation for 2024, and we get some new release dates and pricing information for all of these figures. And according to this article by Tony Bacala, Hasbro shared out pics of the info for next year's Marvel's Legends X-Men 97 Wave 2. Included in the wave is Cyclops, Goblin Queen, Jean Grey, Magneto, Nightcrawler, and Execution. All compact on retro style backers, no build-a-figure, and they are retailing for $24.99. Wow! They'll be available for pre-order in early 2024. Read on for pics and displays and stay tuned for more. The first figure in the line is Cyclops, and I gotta tell you, I've been waiting for this guy for quite some time. I missed out on the original Cyclops back when he was with, I believe it was the Caliban wave. I'm thinking that's what it was. I could be wrong, but on each re-release, it wasn't the Scott that I wanted, and this one looks pretty close to what I'm envisioning for my shelf for X-Men, so I'm really glad to have another chance to pick up this guy. He really does have that striking look with the yellows, the blues, and of course that wonderful visor. He comes with a blast effect and a swappable head, 2 swappable fists, even a hand which he can put to his visor to open up his optic blast, and I can't wait until I can add him to my collection. The 97 cards look absolutely great in their classic style, really harkening back to the original animation from 1997, and honestly, we've been waiting so long for this animation to be broadcast on, I believe it's Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Honestly, I think all of us are kind of wondering, when is this actually going to be released? Because it's been announced years ago. With all of these figures coming onto the scene, I think it can't be too much longer until they finally announce a release date for the X-Men 97. Really exciting to see that when it finally gets aired. The next figure in the line is Jean Grey. This is exactly the Jean Grey that I wanted. Of course, there have been a bunch of them that have been released. One from Mafex, one from SH Figure Arts. There have been a whole bunch of different Japanese releases of Jean Grey, but I think this one really does capture that kind of animation feel. I do like the facial sculpts. They are looking much better than I was expecting, and there she is with that signature ponytail look with a little bit of the hair at the top, and she does have a brand new hairstyle where it's literally all hanging to the sides. She has her bangs draping down, really framing her face very, very nicely. And of course, that sculpt looks so much better, especially compared to the version that came in the Love Triangle pack that they used to call it, with Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. This one really does look a lot more like the television. Even the overall sculpt of the character here is wonderfully rendered. Not much paint on the figures themselves, but again, sometimes less is more, and the cuts themselves are actually quite reminiscent of the cartoon. The Jim Lee designs are easily recognizable. She does come with those psychic types of hands where they're kind of like just splayed out, but we can see that those 3 hands are actually included with the character, so it'll be interesting to see what this 3rd splayed hand actually does. Seeing her here in the classic packaging does really harken back to the cartoon itself. As you can see, more of the black detailing to highlight some of the shading. I'm wondering if that actually would have been more appropriate, as she sort of looks a little bit flat on the character versus the way she looks on the illustration here. Very interesting in the overall execution of that. Also, I know that collectors like Mad Hatter are probably going to take a fine pen to the inside of the lines, exactly the way it looks on the character sheet here, because that's really something, an attention to detail that perhaps could have been added for this particular pack out. The next figure in the line is Kurt Wagner, or Nightcrawler. This is a fan favorite character in the series. He didn't really show up too often in the original 97 show, but given the fact that he has an actual full character right now, I'm thinking he'll play a more prominent role. I love his overall design. It really is a classic Kurt Wagner sort of getup. The overall look hasn't changed that much over the years. As a matter of fact, I'm hard-pressed to think that it was ever changed. The little flares on his vest which go all the way down his body, the black suit, the white gloves. He really is iconic in the way he looks. He has a very stoic face here, not too animated at all, but he does come with a swappable face, which is a bit more grimacing, and he's got 2 additional swap fists, and of course those splayed hands, only displaying 2 fingers and a thumb each. His overall character design really does match the figure itself. I will have to say that these light blue highlights in his hair, I'm not too sure they really captured it properly. I'm wondering if it would have just been better just to have solid lines instead of this sort of like broken up kind of paint application. It looks a little dirty in my opinion, but then again, sometimes less is more, as I said earlier. Moving down, it's really hard to tell whether or not this is a bendy tail. It seems like it should be. I guess we'll find out once they finally get into our hands. Here is another version of Magneto. It remains to be seen whether or not this is the enlightened version of Magneto. There was a time when Eric Lyncher actually led the X-Men, if you follow the comic books proper. He's sporting a more sleeked out version of his suit. It actually has bare arms, that M logo right in the middle of his chest. Very Spartan in the way it looks overall. Just a sort of purplish jumpsuit, if you will, with a cape draped over his shoulders. He's not even wearing a mask. He's completely revealing his face with the white hair. And of course, he has a swappable headpiece with a more grimacing look. He has 2 splayed hands and he has 2 fists. And I do have to say, for $24.99, these packouts are very sparse. There's really not much in the way of accessories. I mean, pretty much they're only getting an additional set of swapped hands and a swappable head. Normally, back in the day, we'd be getting some sort of blast effects, maybe those concentric rings that could give that effect that has those magnetic type of powers. And honestly, what we're getting for $24.95, which does lead me to question the kind of value that we're getting for each of these characters. The next hero in the line is somewhat of a deeper dive, to be perfectly honest with you. This is Executioner, and I'm hard-pressed to even remember this character in the comics, but he does look pretty cool. Honestly, he sort of reminds me of a Batman villain. I'm not even gonna joke about that. He sort of looks like Azrael in a different type of light. He is neat though. I mean, like that cool headpiece. It's got this sort of almost beak-like motif in a simple black and silver color style. I love the half cape he's wearing, a bit of heraldry there with this bright red color scheme, and it's even got something like a pauldron sticking out on this side. His other pauldron is clearly defined, having more of a burgundy style of design. Armor pieces, again, I don't know enough about the character to really give any insightful information to him. He has FOH on his belt. That must be significant. If anybody has any information, please leave that in the comment section below. I'm really interested to find out what FOH stands for. His belt also comes with satchels, which appear to be similar to Batman's utility belt, and it really is more like a modified overcoat, draping all the way down to see where his boots are. He even has a canister of some sort, not sure what he carries in there, and a collapsible spear, it appears, along with a rifle modified, I think, to be more of a blaster than it is an actual gun. Out of all the characters so far, his character design looks pretty close to the way the figure ended up, and I am very interested to see what type of character he will be in the actual series coming forward. Finally, we are getting the Goblin Queen. Now this, of course, spoilers ahead, guys. I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the storyline in the comic book, at least. This is Madelyne Pryor, who is a clone of Jean Grey. She is wearing the crystal, which is very significant to the character. She has the pale skin, and other than Executioner, she seems to have the most number of accessories, and in a lot of ways, the most significant accessories. She actually has the child, which again, not going to give away too many spoilers, but this is a very important child in the series, wrapped in a blanket, covered in X-Men indicas. So this actually might be a very pivotal point in the series. She comes with 2 additional swap fists and some blast effects. This is the first blast effects we've actually seen on any of the characters, which sort of leads me to another question. Why not include just a few more blast effects with the other characters proper? Honestly, there are a ton of questions that I have for all of these releases, especially for the price point of $24.99 per character. Taking another look at Madelyne Pryor herself, this is definitely a more modern interpretation of the Goblin Queen, as her attire is, well, rather modest. She has a full bodysuit with thigh-high boots, what appears to be stockings, a flowing black cape with inner lining, and for whatever reason, the top of her bodysuit is actually exposing the top of her chest, which is quite an inverse compared to her more traditional looks that we've seen in the past. Her first appearance, of course, being one of the most iconic versions of Madelyne Pryor, and really what a lot of people were expecting as one of the stretch goals for the HasLab Engine of Vengeance. That, of course, received mixed results, And even her final look for that design, almost there, but did lack a few of the design cues. There have been more modern depictions of the Goblin Queen. There are just a lot of questions as to how they came up with this design, as it really is a brand new design overall compared to multiple iterations of Madelyne Pryor throughout the years. But as always, things do tend to change, and we can take this as just another evolution in the design for this particular character. The X-Men 97 line is looking pretty good, everybody. Now, if we can just get the cartoon to go along with these action figures, I, for one, will be one happy camper. Oh my gosh, this is just crazy. I mean, after the experience with the Engine of Vengeance, we sort of knew, given the fact that they already were working on this character, that Madelyne Pryor would eventually come back as the Goblin Queen in some iteration. Having seen her now, though, it seems like she's going to be a pivotal character in the X-Men 97 continuation of the original series, but it remains to be seen what type of role she's actually going to play. If you follow the comics, seeing the actual baby character that's included with her is a pretty clear-cut indication of what direction they're going to be heading in, but we do know that they've made course corrections on the overall storyline in the past, so it remains to be seen exactly how this one's going to play out. Characters like Magneto are also in question, as he looks more like the enlightened version of Magneto when he started leading the X-Men, when Professor Xavier sort of, disappeared for some time. And this leads us to the next question: will they be showing more of the Galaxy arc, and exactly what will happen when all of these things finally, and I do mean finally, get showcased to us in this cartoon? It is still happening, right? Guys, let me know in the comment section below, what were your thoughts about seeing this Wave 2 of the X-Men animated series from 1997? I mean, when you think about it, we're already on Wave 2. We haven't even seen one episode of the series. It's kind of crazy. Are you interested in picking up any of these characters, or are you just kind of waiting on bated breath to see what's going to happen with these characters in the cartoon, and if it's actually any good before you actually make any purchasing decisions? Let me know those comments in the comment section below, guys. If you enjoyed this episode, please do leave me a like. It really does help me out. And if you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post up to 2 episodes a week, and I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you guys will always know when new episodes are posted. Guys, I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Good journey, everybody. Keep proud.